Broadcasting live from beautiful 31-degree downtown Cleveland, it's station WDWL TV, home of not one, but 2 stars on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, and backed by popular demand, the Grumpy Jackalope, and also backed by popular demand, your host, Grumpy Stern. Hey! Oh, and this asshole here, show brought to you by this asshole, Grumpy Vulture. So, how is everyone doing? And it looks like it's going to be a 2-person show tonight. And I hope this mic, for some reason, I'm not getting a lot of audio in my headset. I don't know. I got the thing turned up probably way too high. I don't understand. Whenever I use this microphone, I can never get enough audio in the headset. To me, it sounds like I'm whispering. But I think I'm redlining the audio level. I should just quit using this stupid microphone. Go back to leave well enough alone and use the other one. So, what's the temperature at in your part of town? We actually got up to like 34 degrees, and now it's dropped back down to 31. Although it worked out perfect, because this morning the car was covered with snow. By the time I was ready to go to the store, it melted off the car and I didn't have to snow brush anything. It's goddamn weather. Although, my buddy up in Massachusetts, oh God, he sent me pictures before and after of his driveway. He had almost 5 foot of snow in the whole street. He took a picture. He opened the garage door, and there was 5 foot of snow right outside the door. Luckily, the company that plows his McDonald's lots came to his rescue and got him out of his garage so he could go to work. Holy shit. Man, did they get dumped on up there. Oh, God. Yeah, he emailed me. He told me, he says, I can't get out of the garage. I'll send you pictures. He opened the garage door, and literally 5 foot of snow. And he proved it because his wife was holding a goddamn tape measure. The guy that does his plowing has a huge, it's almost like something they use at the airport, a huge snowblower mounted on the front end of his truck. And this snowblower is like 5 foot tall and 5 foot wide, got multi. The guy just drove up the driveway, blowing the snow over. And he said there are areas up there that got it worse. Although he was saying he was lucky that they didn't lose power, because a lot of the areas did. Yeah, he emailed me. He goes, I can't get out of my garage. And, you know, he's a practical joker like I am. And I'm like, why? You don't know how to start your Kia Soul? He says, I'll send you pictures. Holy shit. Unbelievable. I told him, I says, I'm not going to bitch about the 4 inches of snow we got here. Oh, God. Even Grumpy Stern has to drink cranberry juice. Holy yatchafuck. Oh, my God. Blah! Pooey! Although he does have one of those, what the hell? A Generac. He has a Generac home generator. And it's powered by natural gas. So it can run 24/7. He paid a good buck for it. And like he told me, as soon as the power goes out, like within 5 seconds, this thing fires up and maintains the whole household. He's prepared for the weather up there. Man, that's, oh, God. If I looked out the window and had that kind of snow here, I'd still be buried. Because when he told me he had a generator set, I was like, well, what do you do if it runs out of gasoline? And then he sent me the website, and they're natural gas powered. So it got a little engine inside, and it does the job. Because he said 4 times a year, Generac comes out, and they test it to make sure that it's running right, it engages right away, and it's all in the purchase. But when you own 3 McDonald's, you got the money for a big fancy generator. Although he don't flaunt it. He was driving his mother's, oh God, what the hell was that thing? 2008 Mercury Grand Marquis until the transmission went. And I figured, you know, he told me, I got to go buy a new car. He says, I'll send you pictures. I figured, you know, 2023, 2024, brand new something. No. I think it's a 2014 used Kia Soul. I was like, you got to be kidding me. He goes, I got a good deal. I needed a set of wheels. Not to mention, the Kia Souls are now the seniors' Buicks of our grandparents and parents' day. Remember, as soon as you retired, if you were a senior back in the day, you bought a Buick. It was like written in stone. You will own a Buick. Now, seniors are buying Kia Souls. And I'll tell you what, there's 10 of them in this neighborhood. Matter of fact, the woman down the street, she just bought one. It's a 2025. Oh, I'll tell you what, it's dark blue with a white top, and it is impressive looking. But this is her fourth one. I don't know what it is with the Kia Soul is now the new Buick for seniors. And he's a senior and got a Kia Soul. I mean, they're cute looking and they're roomy. I wouldn't mind having one, but they don't make them in manual transmission. I don't want no automatic. Yeah, Kathy, it seems like it is the Buick for the seniors. Back in the day, every senior citizen either owned a Cadillac or a Buick. Now, it's Kia Souls. I don't understand it. But like I say, there are 10 of them in this neighborhood. And I have deliberately stopped. Every time I see a Kia Soul and an older person, matter of fact, there's 2 of them down the street. There's a hideous yellow one, and then the two-tone blue and white one. And then the other direction, there's 2 more. A gray one and a black one. And they're all seniors. I've looked at them. I wouldn't mind having one. I really wouldn't. If they made it in a manual. I mean, back in the day, and I'm talking like when I was growing up and in my early teens, it seemed like every senior bought the biggest fucking car they could buy. Buick, Cadillacs, big-ass Pontiacs. If it was big and huge, they bought it. And I remember there was an old lady up the street. She had a big Pontiac Grand Prix when they were huge. And she used to look between the horn ring and the top of the steering wheel. She was that tiny. Driving the biggest goddamn monstrosity she could buy. Now, Kia Souls. Or little SUVs. I see more seniors in little SUVs than big automobiles anymore. Although you don't really have it's either an SUV or a truck. They don't make cars anymore, you know. The only people making cars are, you know, the foreign, you know, Nissan, Kia, Hyundai. Matter of fact, I don't know if Hyundai, if they have, well, yeah, Hyundai's got some cars. I was talking to my sister today. She bought what the hell did she buy? A 2024 Ford Edge. It's only got like 25,000 miles on it. I says to her, I said, what was wrong with your old? I said, there wasn't a damn thing wrong with your other Ford Edge. Well, it appears my niece, dumbass, wrecked her minivan and her insurance lapsed. Now, the minivan's a total. She's got 3 kids that have to go to school. Her ex took both of the vehicles because they were in his name, which I think was bullshit. He could have left one for her. No. So it left my niece high and dry. So my sister went, well, the car's paid off. I'll give it to her. I would like, could have given it to me. No, my niece needs it, but the shame of the matter is the goddamn thing will be trashed in a month because she's a pig. Yeah. You heard that. She's a literal pig. Her minivan looked like the inside of a dumpster. Because it was funny when my sister went to pick up her new Ford Edge. She looked in the glove box and she said, where's the ownership manual? And she said the salesman started to laugh. And she goes, what's so funny? Now, this thing has got a big frickin' tablet in the middle of the dashboard. You know, like a frickin' Tesla. And to save money on printing, the owner's manual is in the infotainment center. She was saying, yeah, the owner's manual is like 300 pages. Scroll, 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 scroll. The price of the cars keep going up and up and up and up. You think that they could print a manual? No. It's downloaded into the infotainment center. She says, what am I supposed to do? Sit in the driveway with the car idling while I read through the goddamn, owner's manual? Because when she said there's a tablet, I actually went online and got pictures of a 2024 Ford Edge. And yeah, it's got it looked like a Tesla. It's got a big goddamn tablet in the middle of the dashboard that controls everything. Your radio, your heat, everything. And then no more gear shift. It's a rotary knob on the console. Park, the old Prindle, park, reverse, neutral, drive. Yeah, a rotary knob. I said, I'll keep my 25-year-old cars and my manual transmissions. Thank you very much. Because basically the way I look at it is the Passat will be basically the last car that I buy. Well, there is another car in the works. But I mean, hopefully the Passat lasts 10 years, 12, 15, however long Grumpy's around. Well, Chrysler Corporation started that shit with the rotary knob. So everybody copies each other. As a matter of fact, oh God, what the hell? The other day, when I was up at the store, there was a Hyundai parked across the aisle from me to show you how manufacturers copy one another. This thing looked like a Volkswagen Passat. I looked across the aisle and was like, what the hell is that? It ain't a Volkswagen because Volkswagen has the big VW in the grill. And then I saw the goofy H for Hyundai. Okay, enough of these stupid sunglasses. My eyes are going cross-eyed trying to read the chat. And then the glasses are dirty on top of it. God, they are dirty. Holy shit. Where's the other ones? Damn, are those things filthy. Let's try these. Not much better. Okay, we're getting down to the last pair here. Well, I can see again. Oh, I hate that shit. Well, both. But my sister's other Ford Edge had that stop-start bullshit. And we were going, where the hell we were going? We were going out to the cemetery. And every traffic light, engine had shut off. She go to step on the accelerator, engine had start. I said, can't you defeat that thing? She said, yeah, hold on, and she messed with something. It's supposed to save gasoline, oodles. The only thing is, you wear out starters. You save on gasoline, but you go through starters like crazy. But that is the most irritating stop, start. So how you doing, Oodles? Oh my God, your mom's got a Bronco? Holy shit, I love them new Broncos. The big one, not the Bronco Sport. That's a joke. But the big, oh man. There's a guy down the street that's got one. It's a kind of a medium metallic blue. In the sun, it's gorgeous. I'd love to have one. Matter of fact, one of the girls that works up at the shopping plaza, she traded in her Jeep. And she owned nothing but Jeeps for years. And she took a Bronco out for a test drive. And she fell in love with it. And she just raves about that Bronco. Matter of fact, she says in the summer she takes the top off, takes the doors off. I think that was the best move that Ford made. Coming back with the Bronco. I really do. Well, the Sport looks like a shrunken big one. But if, for the effect, the big one. All right, Oodles. Thanks for popping in. Getting ready for nighty-night time. Well, it is good that she's got the little one. Although I got kind of a word through the grapevine that Ford is going to drop the Maverick. It's a flop. And I've heard a lot of complaints about the Maverick. The only problem is they're going to stop making the Maverick, and they're going to stop making the oh God, what the hell is it now? The Escape. They're dropping the Maverick and they're dropping the Escape, which ain't going to leave too much for Ford because people, they don't want that big honking Explorer or the Expedition. Maybe they're coming back with a sedan. I don't know. You would think they would consider because, all the police departments, they really don't want SUVs. But yeah, the Maverick's going to disappear and the Escape is going to disappear. What they're going to replace it with, kind of a national secret right now. Yeah, but you know what? Oodles, Ford came, they dropped the ball. That Maverick should have been introduced about 5 years ago. Or 6. That's like Ford, caught GM with their pants down. Because Ford brought back the Maverick, or the Bronco. Well, stupid GM, they have the Blazer, which used to be the competition for the Bronco. But the Blazer is just a regular SUV. Talk about whoever is in the, design department at GM. So, the only competition to the Bronco is the Jeep. You would have thought GM would have come out with the Blazer like it used to be. The competitor to the Jeep. But no. The Blazer today is just another SUV. I had the front runner to the Ford Ranger. I had a Ford Courier, which was imported from England. And that was the coolest little truck. And then Ford dropped the Courier for the Ranger. And the original Ranger, the one I call the square Ranger, that was the cool one. But then they got bigger and bigger and bigger, and now a Ford Ranger is almost the size of an F-150. As a matter of fact, the Ford Ranger today is as big as a 1960s, early 70s F-150. So Ford figured, okay, we'll bring out the Maverick. They brought it out too late. And, it's bullshit that you can't get manual transmissions anymore. Now, yeah, they say the take rate is only like 3%. But, there's a lot of us diehards that want manual transmissions. I've been driving a manual since I was 14. I have 3 of them. Well, one is broke down. It's going to go to the boneyard, unfortunately. But once I get the shitbox fixed, I'll have my 2 manuals back on the road again. And hopefully, the Corvette is a manual. Because if that thing's an automatic, it's really going to break my heart. Yeah, Oodles, there's a guy about 8 streets away from me that's got, it's either a 92 or a 93 Ranger, which is still the little, I call the square nose. Last summer, I stopped and gave him my name and phone number and told him, when he's ready to sell it, I want it. For 2 reasons. First of all, it's the little square nose. And second of all, it's a manual. And it's still in pretty decent shape. It's got a little rust, but everything in Cleveland has a little rust. But I told them, I said, when you get ready to sell it, you call me. I want it. Because those were the cool ones. Now, I had a 94 and a 95. They were nice. I liked it, but it wasn't the small one. Because the 90s got a little bigger. And now, like I say, the goddamn Rangers are the size of F-150s. Pooey. Hey, if you wanna hit the sack, Oodles, be my guest. That 3 a.m. is a killer. That's usually about when I'm just starting to fall asleep with my goddamn insomnia. Thank God TV runs 24/7 nowadays. I watched, you talk about stupid people. You know, I hate these people that get out in the left lane on the freeway and they're driving like they're Sunday go to church. Get out of that lane. That lane is for passing. Oh, there's a guy up the street from me that's got the big Escalade. Big. Jet black. The windows are tinted so dark you can't see in it. But it's the big one, whatever the biggest one you could buy. I'm watching a police chase. It wasn't Arkansas. I think it might have been Idaho. State trooper. And they're chasing this guy who's, trying to get away. He's doing 105 miles an hour. Coming down that left lane. Lights and siren screaming. People are moving. The dumb ass that's in the left lane sees the trooper coming up behind him. What does he do? Stepped on the fucking brakes. Needless to say, it wasn't a pretty sight when the smoke cleared. First of all, get out of that left lane. It's not for Sunday go to meeting, you know. Second of all, you move out of the way. You don't step on the brakes. Yeah. All of a sudden, the dash cam went blank. When the smoke cleared, it wasn't a pretty sight. The hood, the front end of that Dodge Charger was like in the dashboard, and the ass end of whatever he hit was up in the back seat. I think every state patrol should have a special unit just to ticket assholes that get out in that left lane and think they're going to church. And the tickets should be like $500. Because that would cure not only motorists, but big goddamn semis that do the same shit. I've been on the freeway when a semi will pull out to pass. Now, the guy on the right lane won't give. And the one that is now in the left lane don't have enough gearing or horsepower to get around him. And they're fighting one another, tying up 2 lanes of freeway. I think for truckers, the ticket should be like $2,000. And both of them should get tickets. The one that won't back down and let the other one pass, and the one that decide to pass that don't have enough horsepower to get around him. I've been on the freeway many times when you got 2 semis fighting one another. And I think they both should get tickets. And there should be a special unit for the highway patrols that does nothing but ticket these assholes that camp in that left lane. Luckily, there were not serious injuries when the trooper ass-ended that idiot. Yeah, the guy literally stepped on the brakes. And all you heard the trooper go was, "Oh shit!" Bam! And then the dash cam went blank. And I have seen it over and over and over again. People, that left lane is for passing. Period. Pull out, pass the guy, pull over. Although, I'll tell you, yesterday, talk about asshole. I'm leaving my doctor appointment. Now, I had to come out and cross 2 lanes of traffic to get northbound so I could come home. I look to my right, and there's a guy way down there. No problem. There's no traffic coming to my left. I pull out, I get in the far right lane. I wasn't going fast enough for this guy. He comes up, goes around me, and I almost ass-ended him because he come back in front of me and the traffic light turned red. What did he gain? What did he gain by going around me? Nothing. But I wasn't going fast enough. And he was in a big hurry. Because I look in the mirror and I see this guy coming. He goes around me, pulls, darts back in the right lane, and the light went red. And I almost ass-ended him. And I'm like, of all times not to have the siren hooked up, because I'd have scared the shit out of him. And people do this all the time. If you're not going fast enough, they go around you just to get to the traffic light in front of you. What do they gain? Nothing. One car space, one car length. There's a lot of times. I do it in the good weather. If I see a guy swing out to pass me, I immediately step on it. So eventually, either he's going 3 times the speed limit to get around me, or he's got to fall in back behind me to make his right turn. Oh, I love doing that. I'll see a guy come down. He'll start out, get in the left lane, and I'll downshift it. I can't wait to do it with the turbo. I really can't. Because that little Passat's like a rocket. But I don't dare do it in this weather. But that idiot Monday just had to get around me. And what did he gain? Nothing. Because he had to stop at the red light. Then you get the impatient assholes. As soon as the light changes, if you're not right on the accelerator, and when they do that to me, I deliberately just take off nice and slow, shift into the next gear. I play the little old lady, There was one a couple weeks ago. Now, when I come to a dead stop at a traffic light, I always put it neutral. Just in case my foot would slip off the clutch. Well, when the light changes, I got to shift back into first. I've got my hand on the shifter. I'm ready. If I don't come off that clutch fast enough, lights flashing. What's your fucking hurry? Where are you going? To a fire? Your vehicle isn't red. You don't have red lights on the roof. You don't have a siren. What's your hurry? People, they're in a big hurry to go nowhere. Easy. I drive the speed limit. Now, when I'm on the freeway, maybe I'll go 5 over, 6, 7 over. I try to keep it from 10 over because sometimes the highway patrol, they don't cut you no slack. On city streets, if that speed limit says 30, I'm doing 30. Not 34, not 36, 30. And boy, do I piss people off. Because everybody's in a big goddamn hurry nowadays to go nowhere. Really? Now let's hope she sits on it. And let's hope that when she decides she wants to leave the nest, that shadow comes down. Let's not have a repeat with the Ravens. I guess tomorrow I will be tuning in. I haven't been watching. I really haven't. But now I will. Because this computer is set up for it. Let's hope maybe she lays a second one. Outstanding. That makes me happy. Tomorrow, birdwatch. The Fobby cam will be on. Because I have it saved in my favorites. I just click Fobby. Cool. I'm glad you've been paying attention. Because now I'll be watching again. Because I thought it was so cool last year. Watching them from her laying those eggs to them hatching to them growing up. And then fledging the nest. Well, one fledged on his own and one fucking fell out of the nest. Acting like an idiot. That was hilarious. Oh my God. You know, I happened to catch that just right. Because Goofy Gizmo was flapping them wings and hopping up and down. And then a gust of wind coming. It was like, oh, fuck. Luckily, he caught some wind and landed in the next tree. But it was hilarious when he got blown out of that nest. He was like, holy shit, I wasn't ready for this. And then for a couple weeks, they came back to the nest, and I was sad to see them all leave. Really? Oh, that is so cool. Although how do you tell them apart? Which one is, Gizmo was one. What was the other one? I can't think of his brother's name. Gizmo sticks in my head because he fell out of the nest. But the cool thing about Jackie and Shadow is they are the oldest group, or pair, I should say, of continuously nesting eagles. But it would be cool if one of the kids came home and said, "Hey, Mom, I'm doing okay." That's the sad thing. Once they leave the nest, you really got no way of tracking them because, it's not like the California condors. They tag each one of them. Not to mention, they go in and raid the nests and hatch them and hand raise them because they're trying to repopulate the condor population. Sonny, that's right. Sonny and Gizmo. I watched a documentary, about a year ago on the California condors. Holy shit, are those huge birds. They got like 12-foot wingspans on them. Those are monsters. But they were showing how they incubate the eggs, and then when an egg hatches, they have that crazy puppet that looks like a condor. And they spoon feed them, It was so neat to watch that documentary. Well, yeah, because, she really don't know that that's her kid. Because once they leave the nest, you're on your own, pal. It's interesting because they are basically supposed to find their own territory. They're not really supposed to nest around where Mom and Dad are. But it would be cool if that was one of the kids coming back to say hi. Hi, Mom. What do you mean, get the fuck out of here? Okay, I'm going. See ya. Yeah, because, another eagle flying in, they have no idea that that's one of their offspring. So, yeah, they protect that nest. It's just too bad she didn't protect that. Look, I don't know what was with the two of them this year. They were like first-time parents. Yeah, I heard about that. There's a big controversy because, they want to build apartments or condos or something, and it would infringe on their nesting. Yeah, there's a big controversy going on out there right now. Because, they're losing nesting area the way it is. let alone to go in and bulldoze several acres. No. I really don't think that they'll get issued building permits. Because bald eagles are an endangered species to begin with. And you definitely don't want to take and bulldoze more of their nesting territory. You know, bald eagles aren't like the peregrine falcons in New York. You know, they nest all over them high-rise buildings. Eagles aren't like that. They want trees. Matter of fact, I can't remember the website. There's a couple of websites that have cameras that watch the peregrine falcon nests. They've got them all over New York. And most of the nests have cameras. But yeah, I don't see that condominium or apartment complex getting a building permit because it is too close to the nesting territory. And California wants to protect their eagles, especially the bald eagles. Because they almost got wiped out when, you know, farmers were using DDT. Because it made the eggs too soft and then the eggs were breaking and the population was dwindling. Oh, God. It don't get any better. It really don't. Did you bother to check, Kathy? Did we lose a subscriber? I know we lost a chatter, but did somebody unsubscribe too? How much you want to bet he's listening? If you're listening, you didn't hurt my feelings. I'll just say that. I will say I appreciate your generosity, but I'm sorry I hurt your feelings. But you were really getting on my nerves. And you know what ticked me off, Kathy? I downloaded that X-ray. Do you think it would transfer to my thumbnail tonight? Wouldn't do it. It's in my pictures, JPEG. Every time I clicked, it would not go into my thumbnail at all. Well, okay. Hey, don't bother me. It don't bother me one bit. But I guarantee somebody's listening. Might have unsubscribed, but I bet you somebody's listening. And if you are, like I say, You're not hurting my feelings. I appreciate what you sent. But you know, you have to act like an adult. And everybody has been fair warned, there aren't subjects that are off limits to me. And that was a subject that I felt needed to be talked about. Plain and simple. When it gets that serious, when a doctor says, we're giving this 12 hours, if that swelling don't come down, we have to amputate. And as doped up as Lindsay was, I guarantee that was keeping her awake. And she had no way of knowing if that swelling went down until they took her back into surgery. And luckily it worked. But I'll say one thing, she's going to have a railroad track down her leg. They're going to be one hell of a scar. Well, there are going to be a lot of scars. But at least she got two legs. I can't remember how many surgeries she's got coming yet. Well, like they said, it's going to be an ongoing for about a year. Because she made a mess of that leg. But unfortunately, her career is over. She ain't never going to be able to get on a pair of skis again. But hey, got to give her credit. She come out of retirement and fought all them young, up-and-coming skiers. Because there is a lot of competition to get on the Olympic team. Because I remember back in the day, there was a kid that lived in our neighborhood that, he was a hell of a wrestler. And he was fighting for the last spot on the Olympic wrestling team. And it came down to the wire like, I don't know when they make the decision, like a year before the Olympics. And it came right down to the wire. And he missed making the Olympic team by about that much. I felt he deserved it, but he said the competition is deadly. And for her to come out of retirement and literally fight for a position and win it, and then skiing with a torn ACL. But it was unfortunate when I think she got over anxious. And when she come out of that gate, she brushed her shoulder, and it threw her off just enough where she tried to regain her composure, and it didn't work. And it was sad because I would have loved to see her clinch another gold. But her team ain't got it. Kept the U.S. in the running. Breezy. Who names their kid Breezy? That's almost as bad as Peekaboo. Remember Peekaboo Street? And that was her real name, Peekaboo. How'd you like to go through life with a name of Peekaboo? But she was a gold medalist. Peekaboo Street. I remember her. Mainly for the name. Because I remember she was being interviewed by, I don't know, maybe a BBC reporter. And they said, "Is that your real name or is that a nickname?" And she went, "Nope, that's my real name. Peekaboo." But it was a name that stood out. Peekaboo Street. Man, I'll tell you what, she had to have a hell of a time in school. And it did, I'm sure it didn't get any easier as she went through the grades. Can you see being in the 10th grade in high school, brand new school, your first day, and your homeroom teacher takes roll call? Peekaboo Street, and every kid in the class is like, Peekaboo. I would have shortened it. Peek. What's your name? Peek. Peek Street. I just can't understand parents that would name their kid that. Although it's almost as bad as the girl that shared the room with my sister. Her daughter left the hospital with the name of Famale. Female. Famale. I had to leave the room. I could not contain my laughter. The girl's parents were there visiting, and in come the bassinets. And the girl looked down and went, "Mom, Dad, isn't this hospital wonderful?" "What do you mean, dear?" "They named the baby for us." "Really? What's her name?" "Famale." "Really? This is a wonderful hospital." Oh my God. I had to go out in the hall. Matter of fact, I went down to the men's room because I was laughing too much in the hallway. I couldn't go back to the room. I popped in and told my sister, I said, I'll see you later on in the week. I gotta go. She's like, what's wrong? I whispered in her ear. The girl sharing the bed, the room with you. And the baby name. Matter of fact, they looked over at my niece and actually said to my sister, oh, I see they named your baby Famali too. My sister said, yeah, but we're going to change it. We already have another name picked out. Not realizing that the reason it said female was because it was a female baby. If it had been a boy, would he have left the hospital with the name of Molly? Probably. Look, Mom, Dad, they named the baby Molly. Really? Yeah, it's right here on the bassinet. M-A-L-E, Molly. Wow. What a wonderful hospital this is. No! For Molly. I thought she was kidding. Until both the parents agreed. Oh, for Molly, what a beautiful name. Oh, it's almost as bad as Frank Zappa with his daughter's name Moon Unit and his son Dweezil. Dweezil. Although Frank Zappa was smoking some good shit back in the day. Moon Unit. My name's Moon Unit. This is my brother, Dweezil. Really? Dweezil? Okay. Next. It's almost as bad as Cher. What did she name Elijah Blue? Nice to know she has two sons. One converted. I saw a picture of him the other day. Or it. Beard. Bulked up. I remember when they would bring that little cutie on the program. She had them big dimples. Now there's a beard covering the dimples. Chaz. Chaz Bono. bet you Mommy's proud. Chaz. Jeez. She was even cute just before the transition started. But when she was what? How old was she? 5, 6 years old when she was on the show? She was adorable. Thank God I don't live in Hollywood. It's a weird town. I check my tracking. My microphone should be here either Friday or Monday. Although you'll know when it gets here. I can't wait. That one is cool. That one might be my permanent microphone. Although I have to figure out how I'm going to mount it. I might have to disassemble one of the other mounting arms. That's all right. That one's going to be a cool microphone. Wait till you see it. Yeah, I dragged this one out of the corner. Although I didn't really have to do anything. It was already on the arm and everything. All I did was set it in the mount and plug it in. But I really liked the other one better. I don't know why I can't hear with this one. I thought maybe it might have been something in the connection. So I said, oh, I'll try it again tonight. Nope. And these are the new headphones, so I shouldn't have any problem. But I can't get enough volume into them. Although I've got that headphone amplifier. I could have hooked it up with the blue tubes. I haven't used that in a while. I'm going to have to hook it up. My blue tube amplifier. I haven't used the amplifier in quite a while. God, I got 3 of them sitting over here and they're all collecting dust. And then dummy me, I'm looking at buying another one. Although that one's got green tubes. The only problem is I would love to have a studio set up where everybody could see the equipment. And I'm trying to figure out a camera angle that I could do that with. Because it would be kind of neat to, well, see the console and everything over in Studio One once I get it all put back together. Because that looks like a real studio with the mixer and everything. I'd have to do maybe like an overhead camera. But that wouldn't, I don't know. it would be nice if I could have 2 cameras. I have to figure that out. I can do 2 cameras with OBS. I'm going to have to figure it out. That would be great. Split screen and basically have the front-facing camera and then have like an overhead so you could see the mixer and the console and the monitor. Yeah, once I get Studio One back together, that's my project. Dual cameras. I think it would look cool. I really do. I think it would look cool with a split screen and you could see all the equipment. That's the project for spring. Because I'm going to redo that whole studio over there. I'm literally going to gut that studio and start from scratch. And redo it. And if I can do it the way I want to do it, it would look like a newsroom. Because I would have monitors behind me, have monitors in front of me, have the mixer, and it. But that's something for spring. Just because I'm going to gut that whole studio. Everything's coming out. And then slowly, that's the plan. And if I can do a twin camera setup, that would even be cooler. I know you can do it. I just have to figure out how. I need to get a 5-year-old in here to tell me how to do it. Hey, you're right on time. The walking belly. Yeah, I know, you're starving. You're about ready to fall over from lack of food. I know. Walks through the house. Belly goes back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Chat disconnected. Now it says successfully reconnected. What the hell? That's the first time I've ever seen that happen. Chat disconnected. Please wait while we try to reconnect you. Then right underneath, it says successfully connected. That's a first. Yep, Kathy's here. Yeah, it disconnected for a split second. I got a big red bar across the... Well, I don't know if you can see it. See the red warning? That is the first time that has ever happened to me. At least it reconnected. In time for me to sign off. I know. He's rubbing my leg like you're going to set me on fire. Rubbing my leg like kindling here. Tablet does a start and restart. Oh boy. All right. Everybody out there in TV land, Thanks for being here. Been another fun night. And we will meet again right here, station WDWL TV, the home of not one, but 2 stars on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. And tomorrow night, maybe we will have another showing of the Grumpy Jackalope. And the asshole. I'll hear about that in the morning. All right, everyone. Take care. Have a wonderful rest of your evening. And we will meet again tomorrow night. And there'll be the 2 obligatory see yas. See ya 1. And see ya 2.